Today, I want to expand upon what I talked about with the romanticizing your life that I mentioned in my how to determine whether or not you want to have kids video. Because one of the problems I realized while I was watching that Psychology with Dr. Anna video was that was over romanticized, the idea of being a mom by the woman in the video she was reacting to. The one that Dr. Anna was reacting to, I mean. So I think in that case, it was a set of wildly unrealistic expectations that resulted in the regret that she was going on about in that. Yeah, a lot of people romanticize their lives and other things. Yeah, she clearly didn't take into account the negative aspects, which, if she'd known to be aware of them, if not willing to put up with them, make the sacrifice to take care of the child that Matt Walsh says is necessary, and that's what everyone's lacking. And according to him, that's the real reason that people say it's too expensive to have kids. I think there are legitimate arguments about, I think there are legitimate arguments in favor of wanting to make sure you're financially stable and all that. But at a certain point, there is a question of being willing to make the sacrifice. We can all be like Spider Man. Was it Was it one of the Spider-Verse movies? I think it was Tobey's Spider-Man and No Way Home who said it was about making the sacrifice, which is why spoilers for a movie that came out 3 years ago now. The reason Tom Holland's Spider-Man decided to make everyone forget Peter Parker. Anyway, it's not just that where people romanticize things. I mean, a lot of people romanticize college, the whole experience and the parties and all that. But they don't really think much about the coursework, the time commitment, even though you still technically have more free time than someone who's working a full-time job when all's said and done. That's another thing my abnormal psychology teacher said. You know what? I should probably do an entire video about that teacher and all the things that he's talked about, but we'll worry about that later. A lot of people set the expectation of six-figure job right out of college, which that teacher pointed out was a complete myth. Like, that's obviously not going to happen. But everyone gets sold the idea of you go to college, you get a degree after 4 years, and you can get any job. The old boomer mentality. Yeah, this is exactly why you got to be realistic. Why romanticizing big decisions like that isn't a great idea. So take me, for example. If I hadn't romanticized the idea of, oh, I'm going to go into college, I'm gonna learn how to make movies, and then by the time I get out, I'll have made an actual movie, just like I had back in high school with the 4 short films I did, one of which won an award at the awards show that they do. Instead, I found out I peaked in high school. But if you want to make sure that I achieve new highs in terms of achievements with video production stuff, give this video a like so that the algorithm knows to push it out to more people, and then maybe I can peak again before I turn 30. Yeah, I think it's because a lot of as everyone tries fitting their lives into a hero's journey or a traditional story structure, 3 act or otherwise. I'm guilty of this, though I think I've been doing better on reframing past stories as in that kind of structure, like the final year of college plus the final 3 semesters of college and the summer vacation, the winter break in between them. I would say that has a 3 act structure that I could come up with. I'm actually looking I've actually been looking at writing that out as a novel. Originally I had the idea of it as a TV show, but at this point I think it would be best to just write as a book, and then I'll let the if someone wants to buy the rights, I'll make sure that they follow my rules. I no depicting alcohol, tobacco, or drugs in a positive light under any circumstances. Of course, I should probably work on the 3rd installment of the main series that I've done that I essentially ghosted in October. I don't want to get into detail about that, but anyway, I think a lot of people, the mistake that a lot of other people make is looking at the future as that, thinking it'll play out like that when it might not. And then past stories, even stories from your past, you might have to change a couple things to fit the traditional 3 act structure or look at it in a certain light. Like my film production fundamentals teacher said something about you gotta have the protagonist get what he or she needs instead of what he or she wants in the end. Like take my experiences last October, for example. Act 1, inciting incident. I see Joker Folie à Deux, and I just realize that I should have heeded the warnings from online movie critic. I got emotionally burned so badly by it that I never wanted to go to the movie theater again. I suffered through what was essentially a giant middle finger to anyone who liked the first movie. 2 days later, I go out and realize that there are other things to do that aren't going to see movies. In my case, the Harry Potter exhibit with my friends, and then the New England Aquarium for the Animal Crossing quote unquote event. and then seeing my grandparents after they'd gotten back in town after taking their flight up here because of the funeral they had to attend. And then there was the funeral, oh, for my great aunt that I joined them for. And then and the rest of the month I spent trying to figure out things I could do that weren't going to see movies at the theater. And then it all ended on Halloween with my excursion to the Museum of Science, and then the Guy Fieri restaurant, and then the Rocky Horror Picture Show with the full body cast, which I started to feel like I was suffering there because I they were starting way later than expected. The ticket said 9 o'clock, and let's just say I don't think we were even allowed into the auditorium until 9:30. After that, I would realizing that was going to go way later than expected. I had not to make the same mistake I made when I sat through Joker Folia Do all by myself with literally no one else around me, feeling like I died and gone to movie hell. I decided, you know what? I'm not going to stay out way later than expected. As every disgruntled soldier in every generic action movie said, I didn't sign up for this shit. Most prominent example being Michelle Rodriguez in Avatar 2009. Sorry, I forgot the character's name, but you know who I'm talking about. My character arc through October was realizing I shouldn't would have heeded the warnings for Joker 2, and I could have left at any time during that, but I felt I had to see it through, sunk cost fallacy and all that. And I learned that maybe I don't have to fall for the sunk cost fallacy. And it's okay to give up on things sometimes. So I gave up on the Rocky Horror Picture Show full body cast experience and decided I'm going to try this again when it's warmer out, the sun sets later, and maybe not spend a solid 12 hours out and about before I actually get to this particular part of it. Character arc right there. God, that is actually a really great narrative, but most of the time, it doesn't work out that way. Or you have to change up a couple things or add more narrative elements. I mean, again, sometimes it works out that way. Like growing up, I would actually watch Simpsons episodes, Simpsons reruns that would happen to have something that not too long later, not too much too far in the or after, not long afterwards, something about that would come up in school. Well, like a topic related to it, and I would link it back to that Simpsons episode, and I would be like, "Oh my god!" I feel like it's kind of like the Simpsons was a show within a show, if you will. So in my case, I felt like I'd had something that I experienced or learned about in school foreshadowed by the Simpsons. It's kind of like in the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles show, the first one that they did back in 2012. They had a show, each season would have a show within a show where the events of that would foreshadow the events of the episode. But anyway, the point is, romanticizing can be healthy in small doses, but you gotta learn to look at the future seriously enough. Like, you have to look at the potential downsides. You have to either accept that those downsides will happen, or you won't, or maybe you shouldn't pursue that based on it. And if you really want to do something, whether it's having kids or pursuing a degree or some kind of career field, you have to be willing to make the sacrifice. You have to be willing to commit. And you have to be willing to accept that there will be low points and downsides. So on that note, I'm going to leave it here for the video. Comment down below if you romanticize your life all that much. Actually, if you have any anecdotes you're comfortable with sharing that would fit the traditional three-act structure with little or no changes, I'd love to hear that. Give this video a like, subscribe for daily videos, and I will see you soon.